Hello everyone. In the last video, we talked about how to build an option chain like this. In this video, I'll finish up building this this table. I'll show you a neat trick to be able to build a table like this in an even more efficient way. And then after that, we'll proceed to talk about how to deal with the drop-down menu here for us to populate the expiration dates here, and also to deal with the option codes that has a W in it. Okay, first of all, let me make this bigger so that it's easier to see. So in the last video, when we built this formula, we hard-coded this delta. Now today, I'm going to make this a variable. By clicking this this cell, and then remember to put a $sign in front of this 21. You need this so that when I pull down the formula, this will not change. However, you don't want a $sign in front of a D, so that as you pull to the right, this D will change accordingly. All right, so I do this, I double click this thing, it will fill down. All right, so watch here. Now it's looking at delta. If I want gamma, I just type gamma. Give it a few seconds. Now you're looking at gamma. If you want mark, it will become mark. So it becomes extremely flexible, right? So now what I want is to really pull this over and then pull down to here. Now this one cannot be called IV anymore. You have to call it implied underscore vol, because that is the RTD format. Even easier, I've prepared a list of all the useful fields up here. I just copy and paste here, and then all I need to do is pull and double click. Oh, I can't double click, I have to pull down to the end. All right, done. See, I built the entire table. Let me zoom out so that you can see. That's super fast, right? Now you have a table that contains many fields, and you can still choose the different dates, the expiration dates. It will refresh in a couple of seconds. You can change from call to put, and then it will refresh. Right. So that is pretty cool. Now, the problem now is this expiration is quite limited. We only have 3 here. Maybe I shouldn't call it date. Let's call it expiry. And this is type. And this is symbol. Okay, let's make it nicer. All right. There are a few ways to handle this. Today I will teach you some very interesting way that you can create this list automatically for any time in the future. Obviously, there are many ways to handle this. I'll show you my favorite way in this video. First of all, let me get rid of some of these columns that we don't need. The first way is really to type it in. You see all the strikes here. You can just lengthen the list by typing, but that is not a very satisfactory way of doing it. It's cumbersome. So let me show you another way. Another way is by doing this. I need to make this smaller. Okay. We know that for every week there will be a potential expiration on a Friday. So the next expiration is always 7 days from the previous one. So we can start with the first day, which is first available, let's say May the 25th. May the 25th 2018. All right, this will be the first day. And then I can just do this, equal the previous expiration plus 7. And then pull it down. And you actually get a whole list of Fridays. Now, not all of these Fridays are available. Like, for example, if you look at RUT right now, it has 25th, and then there's the 1st, and then etc. etc. By the time that you go to 7/13, there's no July 13, there's no July 27th, etc. I'll teach you a method to deal with this issue later on. All right, now I'd like to first take care of another issue. If you look at the date code here, this is of a different format that is required by the RTD code. The RTD code requires 2 digits of year, 2 digits of month, 2 digits of date. This obviously is not in the right format. We need to handle that. Let me pull it over here and give myself some space. Now let me make it bigger so that you can see. Now the formula is equal text. Select that cell, comma, and the format. Double quote YYMMDD stands for year, month, date. Enter. Exactly the right format that you need. All right, so let's take a look. See? Year, month, date. Year, month, date. This is exactly the date code that is required. We are good. Now, the problem of selecting which one is available. There are ways to handle that automatically. However, that will require programming, so VBA. So I thought of another very easy way to do it without programming, and that is to do a slight manual work. So let me assume that if I have a column next to this, and I would put an X next to the expirations that I want, something like that. All right. So can I do this and then write a formula in such a way that it will pick up those expiration that has an X next to it and populate it to this drop-down menu? Well, there is, and we are exactly going to look at how to do it right now. Before we actually go solve the problem, let me introduce to you 3 formulas, Excel formulas that are very useful, and these are needed to solve the problem that we just talked about. For those of you who are not familiar with this will be a good way to learn these 3 formulas that will be used throughout applications that are related to options trading. The first one is offset. So for example, if I have a table here with some people's name here and their favorite fruits, I want to be able to allow the user to pick the name, and then the favorite fruit will appear here. First of all, I need a drop-down menu. So what do? We will go to Data, go to Data Validation, choose List, and then the source, you would do this, right? So now you have a drop-down menu which you can choose from. The problem is, what if you have another person? Let's say, okay, the 6th person. What do? Okay, now Brenda doesn't appear on this list. You would have to go do this again. Well, that's too cumbersome. Why not? Why can't you just do, instead of ending there, I give it a bit more so that there's some allowance. Okay. The problem is it doesn't look good. You have a lot of blank spaces at the bottom. Okay. So what we need to do is to be able to dynamically size this drop-down menu. And the way to do it is through this offset. The first thing to do is to be able to count how many people are there here. So you will need a counter. Okay, let me just put a counter here. It will be just count A. Count A means cells that are not empty. All right. So you would give it like a range that's big enough. It will just count those cells that are not blank. So there are 6 people here. Now this 6 is important for this offset formula. This offset formula basically says that you start with a reference. Now, for example, the reference is this one, the first cell. What I want is to be able to dynamically choose 6 or however many people are in this list and ignore all the empty fields. So the offset formula works this way. You would have to go right here. Offset. The reference cell is right here. And then comma, how many rows do you want to offset? Offset means move downwards. How many rows? Well, I don't want to move downwards, so I put it 0. How many columns do you want to offset? Nothing. But now I want to define the height. Height means how many rows do I want to choose? I want to choose right here, however many that are non-empty, right? And then comma, the width is 1 because it's 1 column. All right, we have 6, the height of 6 and the width of 1. So when I close bracket, it will actually choose all these. Now, this one will give me an error because it is not a value that you can calculate. But however, I needed this exact formula to be inside this. All right, so this is what I would do. I would go data validation. I will go type exactly the same thing. Offset. The reference cell is this one, comma, row offset, column offset, and then the height is this one, comma, and the width is 1. Closed. Boom. Now I've got Brenda. All right. And if I add anybody, I got XX, YY, ZZ. You see, this counter keeps going up. And now I automatically has the new names, but not anymore. There's no blanks at the bottom. So this is pretty neat, isn't it? This is very useful for constructing the drop-down menu. You use it a lot. Okay. Now let me just put this counter over here and just say number of people. Okay. So there are 9 people, and then now I want to find their favorite fruits. How do I do that? That's where the second Excel formula here, match, comes in. Match basically allows you to have a table, a lookup array, which is like a column or a row of values, just like here from John to ZZZ. That's the lookup array. And you want to match a lookup value. The lookup value is the name that is being selected. So you match Mary with this list and see whether Mary appears in this list. If it does, then it will return the position. In this way, in this example, Mary will be number 2. If I choose Ken, it will be number 4. Okay, so let me show you. So I will go equal match. This is a lookup value, and then the lookup array. All right, or you can give it some more. And then there is a match type. Match type is either less than, exact, or greater than. For our case, is 0 is exact match that we want. So Mary is 2. If I choose somebody else, let's say Brenda, that's number 6. Janet, that is number 3. All right, so we know the position of the person that is being selected. Now the last thing is that we want to select the favorite fruit and not the person's name. So we would need to come over to this side and say, okay, now I know the selected person is a third person. I would have to pick the third fruit. Okay, how do I do that? That's when index comes in. So you give it the table, which is this table, which is this column. We want the favorite fruit column and not the person's names column, and then give it the row number and the column number. In our case, our column doesn't matter. It's only one column, so this column number will be 1, or you can just ignore it. The row number would be this one, which is whatever that's been chosen by the match formula. So watch index. All right. You will need the table, which is this one. I'll give it, a bunch, and then comma. The row number will be this one, and I don't need to give it a column number, and close it. Boom. See? Now you got it. Ken, that is melon, and let me choose John, that is apple. Right? So we've got everything done here. Now you actually don't need to put the match formula in here. You can embed it inside here by see this is the place that you want the match formula. So what I can do is here, come here, copy. I press Ctrl C to copy it, escape, come back here. Instead of this cell, I would do Ctrl V. The match formula comes in here, enter, done. So I don't need this anymore. So I've got a table. Now whatever I put, okay, it will work. So let's say I choose XXX. Now you get UU, right? You can dynamically expand this. Whatever you do, it will just add on immediately, and you get the answer. All right. Now, so this is a very important technique. Now we are going back to our options table and make use of this technique to complete our table. All right. Now we're back to the options table. Our job now is to be able to pick from this list of expiration those that have been chosen by an X next to it, in order to populate it into the drop-down menu of this expiration cell. So what I mean is that, let me centralize this, it's easier to see. So ideally we want a list that looks like this. See? If we are able to automatically produce a list that looks like this, then this can then be populated in through the drop-down menu. Let's look at how to do that. First of all, you want to count the number of X's. Okay, to do that, let me show you. If count what? From here to here, how many X's are there? So the formula is this: count if the range, and the range goes from the first cell to the current cell, and then comma, the criteria, you got to do a double quote, and then the X. Close. Because this is in date format, I don't need date format. 2. So this is the second X. All right. Very important here is that this cell needs to be fixed. So highlight it, Control F4, you get $2, and then now you can pull it to the other cells. Okay. Now, what you're looking at here is that it sees that this is the first X, this is the second X, this is the third X, this is the fourth, this is the fifth. What I also want to get rid are these. Okay, I just want the 3 here, the 4 here, the 5, the 2. All right. Therefore, I need to add something in front of this countif. If this cell is equal to an X, then we do the countif. If not, if it is not an X, then we want it to be blank. So you put 2 double quotes. All right. So double click this. It will get rid of all these. Why does it get rid of it? Because of the first if statement. If this cell O22 is not an X, it will automatically put an empty space. All right, so it clears out. So now we have a 1 here, a 2 here, a 3, a 4, a 5. If I put another X here, it will automatically change all the counting. All right, now with this, we are ready to roll. Okay. What I need is another counter here, 1, 2. Then just pull down. And you've got the numbering here. Now you just need to match. Let me show you what I mean. Now because this is the first row, choose that one. That's the lookup value. The lookup array is right here. Okay, let me finish typing and then I will explain. The lookup array, you need to F4 to make it, to fix it, and then the match type is 0. Boom. All right. Okay. Now let me explain what has just gone on. Now this picked up the first value that we need is this one. Now the second value that we need actually comes from the third row, which is right here. This is the third row. The third value comes from the fourth row. The fourth value comes from the sixth row, and so on and so forth. So the last value comes from the 12th row. All right. Now once we have that, remember that index and match that we just talked about. Now I want to use an index to find me the actual date code. So it is index this array, all right, comma. Again, I have to F4 to fix it. Now the row number is this matched number, and we don't need a column. So just close it. And now I just picked up the last one, 0810, right? And then if I go this, and then this, voila, you've got this list. This is exactly what you need to be populated into the drop-down menu here. All right, our job is almost done. One more thing, we need to count how many of these in this column is a valid value that is not NA. All right, so how do we do that? You're gonna go here, count if this range. The criteria here is double quote. This is not equal to NA. All right, so it's gonna be # N/A. Close it. Boom. All right, 6. That's 6 of this. All right, if I put another X here, it'll be 7. All right, I can get rid of this X, become 6 again. Put an X here, 7 again. Put an X here, there's an 8. So we know exactly how many of these values that we are supposed to pick. So our job is almost done. All right. Okay, let me go back to here. Now, okay, currently we are tied to this list. We don't need this list anymore. let's do this. Okay, data validation. Now, so what you need is an offset. Offset from where? You offset from here. All right. Row, I don't need to shift it. I don't need to shift the column. I need the height. And the height is this, and the column is 1. Our width is 1. All right, so now I'll go OK. Look, it's just picked up all this, all the way from 08 to 914. Okay, so let's try this. I now get rid of all these. Sorry, I get rid of all these excess. I add one more here. So where there are supposed to be 3, voila, that's 3. So I can just pick an expiration, and there you go. So we have completed the task of doing a dynamic list. This technique is very useful. You may find that this method may be cumbersome for a simple stuff like choosing the expiration, but this method is very useful for many scenarios that are related to options trading. All right, we covered quite a lot today. We talked about how to make use of the offset, match, and index to create a useful list that can be populated into this expiration dropdown. In fact, using the same technique, you can also make this user selectable. Like for example, I could potentially do this, copy this, and paste, transpose. So you make a list like that. Once you have that, you can make this cell user selectable by having a list. Now I'm gonna do a fixed list here, fixed length. You can make it variable length, user selectable length as well. So once you have this, now you have Vega. You can easily choose it to Delta, or choose it to Mark, or choose it to whatever, and the value below will change automatically. So this becomes a very useful feature for you so that you don't have to make a table with too many columns. So you can choose it anytime that you want. All right. As of now, our application is quite good already, but we still have another problem that we need to solve, and that problem is the option code. Depending on whether the expiration that's chosen is a weekly or a standard expiration, you need to add a W for weeklies. So we'll look at how to do that in the next video. There will be some techniques that is required. All right, so I hope you have enjoyed today's session, and we'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, remember to subscribe to my new YouTube channel, KL Options. Feel free to comment below the video, or if you'd like to get in touch with me with questions, suggestions, or even for help in your options trading, you can email me at the address you see on screen.